Hey guys, we have Francis in a cameo appearance by Randall and Pepe, and you guys hid Mike so well, I have no idea where he is. So anyway, they just wanted to say hello. We are going to move on to surface area and volume of spheres. So this is 11.6. All right, so surface area and volume of spheres. Let's go ahead and talk about what a sphere is itself. It's a solid in which each point is equidistant from the center, from a center point. All right, so you can pick a point in a sphere, think the Earth, a globe, and pick a point there, and there will be one point within that sphere that it's equidistant from. A center point. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the great circle. If you slice the sphere into two hemispheres, right? So if we had a sphere and we sliced it down the middle, that would be the great circle where you did the slicing. Think the equator and the prime meridian, the belt that goes around the sphere. Let me see if I can't make this a little less blurry. So the great circle. All right, what I did here is I went ahead and I drew a sphere. Hopefully it looks like a sphere to you. And right here in pink, which kind of looks like where the equator would be around our Earth, is what you would call the great circle. All right here, which would be the core of our planet, is what we call the center. And then, of course, we have a diameter that goes all the way across our circle, and the radius, which only goes partially across, halfway across. Okay, so that is our great circle, our sphere, our diameter, our center, our great circle, and our radius. The next thing we want to talk about is the surface area of a sphere. The surface area. The formula for that is 4 times pi times your radius squared. So just think area, pi r squared, but times 4. So let's look at an example of this here, if I may. We're going to look at surface area first. And let me just move some stuff out so I can move this paper up. And I'll get there eventually. I have this sphere. All right, and I see that this radius that I went ahead and marked, if you can't read that, that says 2.8. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my surface area formula, 4 times pi times my radius, which I'm going to plug in 2.8 and then square it. So 2.8 squared is 7.84. Right, and then I'm going to multiply that by 4 and get 31.36. And I'm going to leave this in terms of pi. So 31.36 pi meters squared. All right, so that is surface area. Nothing too crazy, right? No special right triangles. Yay! Okay, then we move along to the volume of the sphere. I am totally struggling right now with this paper. Okay, so volume of a sphere. That is going to be 4/3, no longer 4, but 4/3 pi r cubed. Cubed, guys, remember volume. Volume is cubed. I'm going to be looking for that on your test. So 4/3 pi r cubed. And here we have another hand-drawn sphere that is just beautiful, and with a radius of 7 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my volume and say that it equals 4/3 pi times my radius cubed. I'm going to cube my radius, and I'm going to get 343. All right, well, when I multiply 343 times 4/3, what I'm just going to do is I'm going to do 343 times 4, and I'm going to get 1372, and then I'm going to divide that number by 3. That just makes it a little bit easier, but since you guys are all using calculators anyways, it might just be easier to multiply it by 4/3. But what I did is I took 343 and multiplied it by 4, and then I put it over 3, and then I divide, and then I get my volume, 457.8 pi inches cubed. All right, so let's look now for the volume of a hemisphere. So we're still on volume, but now we're talking hemisphere. Instead of saying 4/3 this time, because it's a hemisphere, it's only half, I'm going to say 2/3 pi r cubed. And go ahead and judge away on my half sphere here, my hemisphere, and my radius of 5. So here I have 2/3 pi times 5 cubed. All right, that's going to be 125 pi cubed times pi times 2, all divided by 3. So 125 times 2 is 250, and then we divide it by 3, and I end up with 83.3 pi kilometers cubed for the volume of my hemisphere. Volume of my hemisphere. And of course, if we're talking about volume of a hemisphere, we have to talk about surface area of a hemisphere. Well, if you remember, the regular surface area formula was 4 pi r squared. But for a hemisphere, we are going to do 3 times pi r squared. So let's look at my little drawing. All right, well, here's my sphere. Here's my diameter, which is 24. But I need to figure out what my radius is. So I'm going to take that 24 and I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay, and I'm only, even though this is a whole sphere, I only want to find the surface area of a hemisphere. So here's my diameter. I divide it by 2. I get 12 for my radius. So then I'm going to plug that into the surface area formula for my hemisphere. 3 times pi times my radius squared. Well, 12 squared is 144. 144 times pi times 3. And again, leaving it in terms of pi, 432 pi millimeters squared. That's it for your notes today, guys. Excuse me. I'll see you tomorrow.